Welcome to the Rob Bro Show. I am Rob Bro. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can co-host today by commenting on the starting line chat line over there on the right of the screen. You can comment whatever you want to, but please comment. We're begging you. No, I'm just kidding. If you're on the YouTube stream, you can hit subscribe. You can hit like. You can hit all the buttons. We're in the Diversified Lender Studio. Carson is here today. How are you, man?
Living the dream as always, Robbie. Living the
dream. You know who else is living the dream? Austin Hedges. Did have to take one at bat in the World Series, but is on his way and has a number 1 on his butt cheek. I don't know which butt cheek it is, but the magic number to 1 to win the World Series. I've been wearing this hat every night, every day. I've got my playoff kind of a beard going. It is.
Yeah, I've been doing my
magical. It's a magical run. You've not lost on the road yet in the playoffs.
Better knock on wood.
You certainly could tonight, though you get 3 opportunities to win 1 more.
Let's be honest. You want them to lose so that you can be right, and then they win in 6. I mean,
no. I'd rather them win in 5 because I'll be busy Friday night. I won't be able to watch really.
Yeah, you and me both.
Press box.
The crazy part is I'll be in
tonight.
I'll be in the Metroplex on Friday night. It'll just be for high school football and not for the Rangers and Diamondbacks if they make it. Now, if it is the Rangers Diamondbacks and I get an opportunity, say somebody says, "Hey, I got a couple tickets if you want to go," probably skipping the Friday night football game in Fort Worth and Ubering from the high school football stadium over to Globe Life Field. That's
it's once in a lifetime, really.
I mean, you're not lying. If the opportunity presents itself, you got to take it, right?
Though with this young team, you start thinking with the window you have, if you win this one, you hope to be able to stack a couple. If you lose this one, you hope to be able to get back. We talked about that last week. Did I expect to be up 3-1 the next time we came together? Maybe not, but how it's played out, I absolutely think you've done what you can.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got a spectacular start last night from Andrew Heaney. Obviously, the run support early was huge.
Yeah,
we've talked about that. We've talked about that in the past with those kind of guys going with a Heaney or a Dane Dunning pitching. For them to have a ton of confidence on the hill is just to go out there and pump the strike zone because they're not dudes who are going to miss barrels a whole lot. I mean, he didn't miss a ton of bats. They just hit it right at people for the most part all night when Heaney was in the game. But getting 10 runs with 2 outs, that's massive. Making what Arizona was trying to do, which is play a bullpen game too. Didn't work out as well for them, obviously, but
they kept calling the Rangers game a bullpen game. It wasn't because Andrew Heaney's been a starter. He's been
starting all year.
But that was a start for Andrew Heaney, and that was a true bullpen game for Arizona. I've not seen that this year. I don't think where a guy is out there to expressly just get 3 outs to start, and you're going to have 3. I mean, how many pitchers did they use?
Yeah, they used a lot. Off the top of my head, without looking at the box score, I don't remember how many exactly they used. 6, 7. I don't think it was that much, but Yeah, and you've seen it all year. If you're the Diamondbacks, you've seen that quite a bit this year because of the Madison Bumgarner situation where he just fizzled out real fast. I mean, four
Right.
starts, big contract. See ya. We don't care. We'll pay you, but we don't want you here anymore in Arizona. So Bumgarner was gone, and then ever since then, they just kind of pieced together that role, that spot in the rotation. They just moved everybody up a little bit, and obviously the Fott kid that we're going to see, maybe not see again if it goes to a game 6. We'll see him in a game 6 situation. But Zach Gallen had to be really good this year. He was really good this year, but he hasn't performed well in the playoffs, which that could all change tonight. But yeah, it was seeing that situation in a World Series. It goes one of two ways, obviously, and it's easy to say. It goes one of two ways. Either it works really well for you, or it doesn't work at all for you. And it didn't work at all for him this time against the Rangers, because the Rangers just teed off on them. They had a great scouting report going into the game. Hunt fastballs. That first pitch, the reliever that came in to face Corey Seager. It's first pitch slider. Good and well, they saw that on tape. When he comes in the game, he likes to throw first pitch slider, get it over, and most guys don't swing at that because you're not looking first pitch slider from a dude coming out of the bullpen first. But the first pitch, Corey Seager, he's hunting first pitch slider. You could just tell by the way he swung at the ball. He's hunting a first pitch, get me over slider, and he just parked it in the seats. So, at one point, Corey Seager, until he hit that double, which is almost another home run, the only hits he has in the World Series are all bombs, except for one. He's every hit is an extra base hit in the World Series. He's a total bases king right now in the World Series.
A game, if it ends tonight, Corey Seager is the MVP.
Oh, he's the World Series MVP. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
That would be 2 World Series for him and 2 MVPs.
Is that good, Rob?
And a lot of those games have become in Arlington.
Yeah. And the
2020 World Series in Arlington.
I was just about to say the 2020 World Series, he was the MVP, and that all of those games were played in Arlington. So, yeah, Corey Seager loves him to hit in closed or open roof stadiums. Let's put it that way.
Let's talk about the Rangers pitching. I just looked at the box score. Surprisingly, I forgot Nelson went 5 innings yesterday. He kind of controlled the game for a while.
He retired 11 straight. And he was perfect through his first 4.
So the Rangers actually used more pitchers last night than the Diamondbacks did.
Well, yeah, because the Rangers couldn't get it done late. Will Smith, what a joke.
But Dunning pulled while cruising, can pitch again tonight or tomorrow or Friday. Bradford pulled while cruising, can pitch again tonight. Brock Burke will not pitch again in this World Series. Stratton might get another opportunity, but doesn't need to be used tonight. Will Smith not getting another opportunity in this World Series.
No.
And then Jose Leclerc, who needed to get one out, gave up a hit and then got the out. He will obviously be used again, probably tonight. So I saw a lot of pondering on Twitter. Why take Dane Dunning out if he's cruising? Because it was 10-0 and you want to use him again.
So that you can use him. That's the only reason you take him out. And Bochy said that in the press conference. He was asked that question after the game in the presser. Dane Dunning looked to have complete control of what he was doing out there tonight. Was it just one of those things where he was on a pitch count? And Bochy said, we'd like to use Dane Dunning again if we need him tomorrow night. So,
yes.
Especially if we need him on Friday night, he doesn't need to throw 50 pitches, 60 pitches in an outing so that he's not ready to go in 2 or 3 days. So
when it's 10-0.
Yeah. So you didn't need Dane Dunning to just cruise to the finish last night. In the regular season, yeah, you probably use Dane Dunning and you cruise him to the rest of the way, and you win the game, and it's 11-2, and Dane Dunning gives up a couple runs, but who cares because it's 11-2.
Yeah.
But in a World Series situation where you've got to have the guy, if you need him, he's one of your top long relievers. If for some reason a starter doesn't have a great start and you've got to piece together innings, In the middle halves, you've got Martin Perez and Dane Dunning because Heaney's not an option now. So in game 5 anyway. So that's why you pulled Dane Dunning.
And you took Heaney out early so he could pitch in game 7.
Yep. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You have all your bullets ready to go in a game 6 and a game 7. By the way, Bochy pitched last night. And obviously, like you said, Brock Burke not pitching anymore in the World Series. No. He was 3 straight hits. See you later. Gave up all the runs. He has an infinity ERA in the World Series.
I think he got an out.
Did he get one out? I don't think he got an out.
He got an out.
He gave up 3 straight hits, and then I think he got pulled. He got an out, so he went a third of an inning. So he doesn't have an infinity ERA, but
67.50 ERA.
Please. Hopefully Brock Burke gets to pitch in the playoffs again in his career, because that career ERA in the playoffs is not going to look good when you retire from baseball and your kid's like, Dad, why'd you suck so bad in the playoffs? Anyways, son, my team won a World Series. Who cares?
Yeah, you had to get him in there to see. But
I mean, it was a perfect time to get him in, obviously. But for a guy that wasn't on the roster, the day before, to get put on the roster that morning and then go into a World Series game, I'm sure his nerves are pumped up, and that's why he's leaving balls up in the strike zone, and he's juiced up and just leaving it over the middle of the plate. I've been there, done that plenty of times. That's why I don't get paid anymore.
And the Diamondbacks, they're a good baseball team.
Yeah.
They jumped on you in game 2. You jumped on them in game 4. We didn't talk about game 3 that you won 3-1, and Josh Young had a bunch of web gems in. Just a really, really good series so far. 2 blowouts, 1 for each team. Even though 11-7 might not look like a blowout, it was.
Yeah, it was.
8 runs in there. Roy says the answer backs might have something to say about that tonight. I certainly think the Diamondbacks can win again.
Tonight seems like the game that Zach Gallen puts it all together right at home. Like they need him. They need their best guy, their best arm in the biggest situation, the biggest moment of the season for the Diamondbacks. I mean, it's cliche to say, but it's win or go home.
Yeah.
Or win or stay home for them. But I think that this seems like a great opportunity for Zach Gallen to pitch very well. Nathan Eovaldi, big game Nate, he's going to come out and he's going to pitch well too. It could come down to the first team to score 4 runs tonight is going to be who wins in game 5. So,
is there anybody you'd rather have for a clinching game?
No, not on this team. No.
Now, Jordan Montgomery in a game 6, I feel confident in.
Right.
But big game Nate in the playoffs has just been so electric. You look back to game 1. I mean, this is who you want.
Yeah. And you look back to game 6 in the ALCS. You needed to win. And who'd you have on the bump? Big game Nate.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's not another guy who I want on this Rangers club. I mean, there's a couple other guys in Major League Baseball that you might want to win you game 6, but Nate Eovaldi is he'd be one of the top 5 right now this year in the list of who do you want to go out there and win you a big game. Nate Eovaldi is one of those guys because he's just a freaking competitor, man. You can see it in his eyes, right? It's one of those things where you see it and you can just see a dude's going to go out there and compete his rear end off. And that's the dude you want. That's the guy you want on the bump. And that's all you can ask for is a guy who's going to go out there and compete his absolute tail off. I thought Max Scherzer had that look in his eye the other night until he got drilled in the back. Josh Young makes a great play, and it's a shame that Scherzer had to come out and not be able to finish, I don't want to say a career off, but it's looking to be that way with all the injuries he's had to put up with this year. It might be the last time we've seen Max Scherzer in a Major League Baseball game. So, it's the perfect recipe for Texas, but it's also the perfect recipe for Arizona, because if you have anybody that you want to go out there and perform and take you back to Texas and win a game 5, it's your best arm. It's the guy who, was your number 1 all season long, the all-star starter for the National League, Zach Gallen. So it's going to be interesting to see who competes better. They're 2 differing styles of pitcher. Gallen's a kind of a quiet dude. He doesn't go out there. He's not as intense as Eovaldi, but they're both really good, high quality right-handers, and it's going to be a fun one in Game 5 for sure.
You'll do it without Adolis Garcia. Tough loss. Just trying to swing out of his shoes, pulls his oblique. And if you've ever dealt with like a rib injury or an oblique or a back, you can't go.
You just can't play.
You can't play 60% and swing the bat.
Not in the big leagues. Not in the big leagues.
No,
yeah.
No.
And especially doing what he wants to do in the middle of a lineup. Like, you can't do that. Yeah. Yeah, and that's all he tried. El Bombi. I mean, that's what his name is. The bomb.
No, that's not why. It's because his head looks like a light bulb.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, El Bombi. Yeah.
Now he's become. Yeah, now it's become a bigger thing. But yeah, it stinks because he was the face of this Texas Rangers postseason run. You're talking about a guy who's probably the playoff MVP. Or other than Corey Seager. But yeah, it's been it stinks that you don't have Adolis Garcia, but the rest of this lineup without Adolis is still really good, really dangerous.
Doubling a single.
Yeah. I mean, Travis Jankowski, he hits a home run in Game 7 of the ALCS if it's not for Justin Tucker or whatever his name, Kyle Tucker robbing a home run. So Jankowski, he's out there for his defense. He doesn't have as good of an arm as Adolis Garcia, but he's a better defender than Adolis Garcia as far as tracking balls down in the gaps, especially in Arizona. That's a big thing with how wide and expansive that outfield is. So, it stinks that Adolis isn't around anymore, but he'll be in the dugout. So his demeanor, his flavor, his flair for the game is still there. Hyping the team up and doing all those things. So,
all right. So you picked Rangers in 7.
Yes, I did.
I picked Rangers in 6. Do you want to amend yourself?
No.
Okay. You don't want to say Rangers in 5?
No.
All right. I'll keep it Rangers in 6 too. Big game tonight. Eovaldi versus Gallen. It's a rematch of Game 1. Gallen was in the clubhouse winning. Eovaldi was set to take the loss, and then you have a 2-run home run by Corey Seager to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th inning, and then Adolis Garcia walks it off in the 11th.
Yeah, the 11th. Bottom of the 11th. Yep.
Just a beautiful, beautiful game.
La Cata El Bombi.
So hopefully something like that happens again today.
Yeah.
Roy says, shall we be discussing the home and away schedule drop today? Yes, the scheduling matrix. Let's get into it.
That's why we were delayed in our start today, actually.
Yeah, I was waiting on it. I thought they were going to drop it at 11, then they didn't drop it till 1.
It's the Big 12. What do we expect?
Big 12. I think they tried. They tried. They did it half right. Kansas State has a perfect schedule. Kansas, Arizona State, those teams have perfect schedules. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, West Virginia, something is lacking. There are no teams on these schedules all 4 years in the matrix that they dropped. It's wrong. Everyone should have a team they play every year. Baylor and TCU play every year in the new Big 12, the new Big 12.
Yeah, the second 2.0.
Yeah. 4.0? What is
4.0. Yeah, well, I don't remember what it is now. Yeah.
Kansas State play every year in the new Big 12. But Texas Tech doesn't have anybody.
They don't have a common opponent, no.
Arizona State, they play every year in the new Big 12. Colorado, they're on a 3-year schedule. They don't have anybody to play every 4 years. It would have been so easy to have one common opponent every 4 years that you can build up, but they couldn't get it done. You do not play Baylor or TCU in 2025. If you're Texas,
that is in its own right. That is blasphemous.
You don't play Oklahoma State in 2027. So it's close. It's almost good. The pros, you play everyone in a 4-year window, home and away. That's a pro. I think you get everybody home and away in a 4-year window. That's way better than what the SEC has done the last 10 years. But to not have one team on the schedule all 4 years and to miss TCU and Baylor in a single season, I don't like it. That's a con to me. And I think the cons outweigh the pros here. It's almost good, is what I would say.
Yeah, it's almost a great setup that the Big 12 has. But like we talked about, I have an issue with the 3-year thing, like the non-common opponent that you have all 4 years. You have 16 teams in this new Big 12, right? There's 16 teams.
Yeah.
It's easy to set 2 teams up with each other. Obviously, there's 8 teams that are left out in the dark in this 3-year thing. You're going to play one school for 3 years. You're not going to play them one of these 3 years. It's mixed and matched, whatever you're going to do. There's 8 teams that have a common opponent all 4 years, right? We said it: TCU, Baylor, Utah, BYU, Arizona State, and Kansas State. And the good thing for Texas Tech is you only have to see Kansas State twice in this 4-year schedule drop. So good for them. And you don't have to see them next year, which would be great.
The other 8 are so easy to put together.
It's so easy. I mean, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State is so easy.
Cincinnati, West Virginia.
Yeah, easy.
UCF,
regional, American athletic rivals.
Iowa State, Colorado.
Big 8 rivals. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, the new Texas-Oklahoma rivalry, right, in the Big 12. Why would you not want that to continue? And you don't have to call it a Red River anything or any of this crap. We're not trying to take away from what Texas and OU is, because that's one of the greatest, if not the best, rivalry in college football.
You don't have to play
Texas versus Oklahoma is Texas Tech versus Oklahoma State as being Texas as the state versus Oklahoma as the state.
Right.
That has to be a thing, right? Like in every single sense of the imagination, you compete for the same. Texas competes against Oklahoma. The Oklahoma schools compete against the Texas schools for the best recruits in Texas. So in what world, why would you not want Oklahoma State and Texas Tech to play every single year? Plus, the fan bases don't get along. They think that each other has copied each other. Oklahoma State says Texas Tech copied them. Texas Tech says Oklahoma State copies them. So why would you not want those 2 teams to play together? It's an easy road trip for both schools to go to Stillwater from Lubbock. It's an easy trip from Stillwater or from Lubbock to Stillwater. So, and it's one of those deals where why would you? And in every other sport, this has become kind of a rivalry game, other than maybe basketball, because when Texas Tech has been good, Oklahoma State hadn't been so good in basketball. But baseball, it's probably the biggest, if not other than Texas Tech, TCU in Big 12 baseball the next few years is going to be one of the biggest rivalries in all of college in the Big 12 in baseball. It's just one of those things where I think you're missing a big load of opportunity here with Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Colorado, Iowa State. I think is a great matchup.
Yes.
Every single year. You go back to the Big 8 days, back when Seneca Wallace was playing at Iowa State and Colorado was in the early Big 12, in the Big 12 North. Those were great games whenever all that was going on. So, I think that the Big 12, it's a good schedule. They almost were great at it.
It almost was schedule, great. But it's so easy to say 16 teams, 4-team pods.
Yeah.
You're playing every 4 years. I mean, the math works out, but instead you get this wacky 3-3-3 thing with half the schools and then 4-4-4 things with half the schools. It's just haphazard to me.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And in 2024, next season, you play TCU and Baylor, and then you don't have but one Texas-based team on your schedule in 2025.
Yeah, Houston.
In the conference, Houston, and that's an away game. So you're telling, and you know what, you go to the Dallas Metroplex and you recruit these kids in the Big 12 in the last ever since the inception of the Big 12. You've been able to go into their homes and say, hey, listen, you're going to come play in Lubbock. It's a close trip for your family to get to Lubbock from the DFW Metroplex. But look, we're going to play close to the DFW, especially since TCU's been in the conference. We're going to play in the DFW Metroplex at least once or twice in your 4 years as a scholarship athlete. We're going to play in the Metroplex at least twice in those 4 years. We're going to play in Houston at least twice in your 4 years. We're going to play, and Houston's not that far from Waco and all those things. Now you can't say that. You can't go to a recruit's house and tell them we're going to be playing in the DFW every other year, and then your family can come up and watch you play on the rest of the time. Like that you can't recruit that way. You can't make those promises anymore. Obviously, you can do that in the non-conference if you wanted to, and schedule the SMUs of the world and those kind of guys. But that's not on the non-conference schedule slate right now.
Now you have to say, potentially in a 3-year window, we'll be playing half the time. And it's just like, what? Just how easy was it to say you play them every other year?
I just don't understand.
I hate you're missing TCU in a year. I hate you're missing Baylor in a year.
I really hate that you're missing Houston.
It double sucks you're not doing it in the same season. You miss both of them in 1 year.
Yeah, and I think that's a shame. The Big 12 really swung and missed on that. Not having a TCU or a Baylor on the schedule for Texas Tech every single year, especially the Baylor matchup, which, they tried to make it a rivalry. It's kind of been, but it wasn't really, because Baylor was better than Texas Tech when you tried to make it a rivalry.
Yeah, but you played them 60 times. It's a rivalry.
It's been a constant game that you've played every single year since the Southwest Conference days.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking.
How many times have you played them?
I don't know, a lot. And the only time you haven't played TCU is whenever they were sitting in the Mountain West Conference for a few years.
And you played them a couple times.
And you played them a couple times in those years. And in Houston, too, you've played them quite a bit since they were not in the Southwest Conference as well. So, and now that they're in the Big 12, why would you not want the Texas schools to play the Texas schools, make it a Big 12 North and South, but without the division tags, right? If you don't want divisions, cool, that's great. Make it a regional schedule, though, because fan base is the Texas Tech alumni fan base, huge in the Metroplex. A lot of people are in the Houston area as well. So why would the Big 12 miss opportunities like that? Like, those are missed opportunities to me. Why would Oklahoma State not play Kansas State and Kansas in those teams every single year? The Oklahoma State fan base would travels well to Manhattan, travels well to Lawrence, goes to Ames, Iowa really well. So, those are matchups that I think the Big 12 really missed on. You could have done this thing regionally, and Colorado, Arizona State should be playing each other, and Utah should be playing each other every single year pretty much. You can miss a BYU in there every now and then, but I think they missed on some of these scheduling things here, because there's just a lot of inconsistencies. And I get that the Big 12 is now not a regional conference. Like, it's just everywhere.
Yeah, but is.
But you could have regionally made the schedule.
You could have. Excuse me.
Got to start smoking those with filters again, right?
Yeah. From the starting line chat line, most of the projections I saw on Twitter were way better than what the Big 12 actually did. Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I mean, all the box 4, the 4x4, the pods, the divisions even, I think, could have worked. But you go with a scheduling matrix that has no rhyme or reason, really, for half the conference.
Yeah. And you know what? For UCF and Cincinnati and teams like that, I mean, UCF, Cincinnati, West Virginia could probably be on the schedule of each other's every single year. And for West Virginia and Cincinnati, that could become a real rivalry, I think, because it's a regional base. You're talking about two teams that West Virginia has to recruit the state of Ohio and the state of Michigan, because that's where a lot of good football, high school football, is played, in those two areas, right there in that region of the country, especially in Ohio. You go to the Massillon, Ohio's of the world. It's one of the hotbeds of high school football in the country. that's not Texas or Florida or California. So, yeah, I think that you're missing out by not having West Virginia, Cincinnati play each other. I think that could be, if you're trying to really boost Big 12 rivalries and things like that, Cincinnati, West Virginia seems like it's an easy one to create and to make. And it goes back to the Big East days of when Cincinnati and West Virginia were in the Big East together, right? And you're missing that. So, I just think that there's some swings and misses on these schedules on these by the Big 12, but some of it they hit and some of it they just did not.
All right,
not at all.
Picks.
Yeah, let's do some picks.
So I'm losing my voice apparently.
You were screaming at the TV too much in the World Series last few days.
I really was. That's a strike.
Laura said these schedules are terrible for Tech, not playing Baylor, TCU every year. Oklahoma State, Iowa State fans are furious. I'm sure that the Big 12 is going to get a lot of pushback on this.
From half the teams, because there's half the teams that don't get to play everybody every year.
Yeah, and I don't know how much the athletic directors of each school played into telling the Big 12, whoever the scheduling committee is. I don't even know who's on the scheduling committee for the Big 12. Whoever it is should be canned for not even coming up with having a common rival every single year. I mean, it's not that hard to come up with a common rival for every single team every single year. It's just not. I used to do that in NCAA football all the time, right?
Everybody
play NCAA 14
play every year. Yes.
Everybody should have a team they play every year. It's not hard. It's not.
Now, everybody can't play everybody every year.
No, obviously.
Unless you move to a 10 or 11 game conference schedule.
Yeah, and then you only have one non-con, which I do not like.
Then it gets a little easier, but is what it is. All right, let's make some picks. We'll save Texas Tech, TCU, even though they're tomorrow night. You know what? We'll do that one first because we can talk about the game. TCU, Texas Tech. We haven't talked about the game yet. Texas Tech favored by 3. Taj Brooks should cook TCU's defense if they give it to him consistently and in good spots. It's not just handing the ball to him. It's handing the ball to him at the right times. TCU, Texas Tech. What are your thoughts, Carson?
I mean, you said it. TCU not great against the run. They're average. I mean, I think both defenses average the same amount of yards that they're giving up against the run, close to it, about $150 almost a piece that you're giving up on the ground. And a lot of that, the reason Texas Tech is almost giving up $150 on the ground is because of Kansas State. But it's one of those games where this game always goes one of two ways. TCU either rails you or you play a really close game in Lubbock. And somehow TCU always escapes, or you get a win late somehow, some way. The defense is going to be big in this one.
You don't normally win the close ones in Lubbock, though.
No, you don't. You don't normally win the close ones in this matchup at all. Yeah. You kick a field goal to win a game in Fort Worth a few years ago, and it feels like the last time we beat TCU, Tech beat TCU was in Fort Worth in overtime. Yeah. So it might have been the last time you beat TCU. I don't know.
2018 with Jet Duffy.
And the people that hate Jet Duffy are gonna just love that stat.
I think that was a Thursday night as well in your white throwbacks on the road, and it was 17-14. I think I remember.
Yeah, 17-14, yeah.
Looked at it yesterday.
Yeah.
Ugly game. JD and High. Jordan Brooks had a pick in the end zone.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I think Jet Duffy had a long run after doing nothing all day.
Yeah, down the sideline, yeah.
Set up a field goal, or maybe he ran it in. I don't know. Anyways.
The throwback unis they've worn at TCU have been great. By the way.
That one was awesome.
Yeah. Last year's were great too. Just didn't equate to a win, got blown out. But yeah, it's one of those games where I think it's going to be ugly. I don't think either team is great. TCU is, Jacob said it, TCU's talented enough to beat anyone and blow out some teams. They're also weird enough to lose to everybody. So, and I agree. I mean, TCU goes and they absolutely just wax BYU, right? At home. And then they go get their butt kicked the next week by Kansas State. And it's just like, what TCU team are we going to see show up here in Lubbock? Are you going to see the team that waxes BYU at home? Or are you going to see the team that went on the road? And Kansas State is a good team. Don't get me wrong. Kansas State, I think, is playing maybe the best right now in the Big 12 out of all the teams. If we did a power ranking, Kansas State would probably be number 2 on my list, with Texas at the top, Oklahoma at 3rd.
I might flip it.
You might go Oklahoma or Kansas State number 1, Texas 2, Oklahoma 3. It's fair.
Yeah.
I'm close to it. Just Texas with Worthy is dangerous. Everything they do is dangerous. So
yeah, but backup quarterback.
Yeah, they're still good on the defensive end, though.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's why Texas gets the nod there at the top. It is Power Ranking Wednesday, but
it is.
But yeah, but TCU, they're kind of a bipolar football team. So, especially on the road, lost to West Virginia at home in a close one, lost to Iowa State. What was it? 28 by 2 touchdowns, 28-14. Something like that at Iowa State.
Yeah.
So TCU on the road has not been great. It'll be interesting to see what team Texas Tech shows up with as well. Who's going to play quarterback? Have you heard anything? Baron Morton able to go this week, or is it Jake Strong again?
No, I believe it's Baron Morton.
That's what I've heard.
Who has finally practiced for the first time since before West Virginia. So that should equate to a little bit of a better opening opportunity, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And Roy said it. It's what Tech team are you going to see show up in Lubbock too? You're going to see the team that should have beat Oregon, that had a 2-possession lead against Oregon. You can see the team that blew that lead away and lost to Oregon. Are you going to see the team that comes back and gets a lead on Kansas State, but then throws 3 picks because the offensive coordinator is an idiot? And I like Zach. I think he's a great guy, but he just made bad decisions in that football game.
Yeah.
And I think he can be good as an offensive coordinator. I just think he got a little ahead of himself there with the true freshman quarterback. But if you don't have that issue, if Baron Morton's your quarterback, I think you have a great chance. So it's one of those things. For me, it's a toss-up just because, and obviously that's where the line is too. It's kind of a toss-up at a three-point line. It pretty much means that Vegas doesn't have a whole lot of stake in who's going to win the game, who's not. The money just points towards Texas Tech a little bit in Vegas. But it's going to be a tale of which team shows up on both sidelines. And if they both show up, it should be a good one. It'll be a good football game between the two teams. If both bad football teams show up, it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be fun to watch. It's going to be boring. It's going to be like 17-14, grind it out, nasty, just not what you want to watch in a Big 12 game on a Thursday night in a showcase.
Yeah,
because you're the only game on Thursday night other than probably a Sun Belt game on ESPNU or something like that.
Yeah, I picked this game 21-17, I think, yesterday. It just feels ugly to me.
Yeah.
The total's 59, so Vegas thinks
under
higher scoring than that. Yeah, I just there's no Chandler Morris. The backup quarterback, what's his name? Hoover.
Yeah.
Has been electric, dominated BYU, and then got dominated by Kansas State.
He looked really freshman-y against Kansas State.
What do you see against Texas Tech, whose defense has been actually pretty damn good in the Big 12, especially in the second half of Big 12 games? What do you think the crowd will be like? JD is going to be in Lubbock. I think it'll be – I don't think it's going to be good.
I know. I hope it's good. I hope the students show up just because there's nothing else to do on a Thursday night in Lubbock. You can go to the game. It starts at 6. Then you can go hit Broadway after the game. It's not like you need to leave early and do any of that stuff. They sell beer in the concessions. Go pregame at the concession stand. I
think it'll be a lot like a TCU crowd, so you'll feel at home.
Yeah, right. I think that the crowd will be 40-something thousand.
Ooh.
45,000.
They'll announce it in the 50s, but
Oh, they'll announce it at 58,000 probably.
yeah.
Even though I don't think you can sit 58,000 in there this
I think
year
it's 56 right
with
now.
all the construction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll probably be announced as a big crowd just because they already sold all the tickets. I mean, obviously the season tickets were all sold out. All the tickets have been sold for the game, but there's a lot of people on Facebook that are selling tickets or trying to give away tickets at this point.
Yeah.
To the game on Thursday. They just want people to go. But if I was in town, I'd be at the game, but I will not be in town. I'll be in the Metroplex. But
I'll be at Lowry.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those deals where it's a perfect time. You know, that year that you played TCU at home on a Thursday night, Jason Morrow and the boys were in the Grays. That was a great crowd that night at the Jones. So Roy's going to be making the 5-hour drive tomorrow to be there. That's good. He's a student, but he's got season tickets. I like it. Yeah, I hope that the crowd's good, man. I sure hope it is. But I know Texas Tech fair weather fans too much. I've been around it my whole life.
3-5 late in the season.
Yeah.
Thursday night. Yeah.
People are like, I got better things to do. Somebody else will go.
You have to, if you really do have this great contingent from the DFW that drives down every week, now you have to take 2 vacation days or sick days or whatever you're doing to get down here. So we talked about that last night. So
that's the thing.
Do you have a pick?
Yeah. TCU 28, Texas Tech 24.
Yeah.
Tough.
All right. Starting on Saturday, Kansas State, Texas, probably the game of the week if you're not going Bedlam. But a great game. This is going to be a matchup for a Big 12 championship appearance, potentially.
It's a huge matchup for Texas. I mean,
Texas for sure. For Kansas State,
football playoff.
4-1 for both in the Big 12. This is a 4-point line to Texas. What do you think?
For Texas at home, like I said, this is Texas's college football playoff hopes on the line here on Saturday. It's a must win for Texas. Kansas State, I think some people will say it's a must win for Kansas State to win the Big 12. For Texas, it's a bigger deal because winning the Big 12 is a goal of theirs, yes, but having a chance to play in the college football playoff is a bigger goal for Texas, and I think a realistic goal for Texas going into the year. Without Quinn Ewers, it's a little tougher, right? It gets a little bit tougher without Quinn Ewers as your quarterback, obviously, but you still have those weapons in the Worthies and those guys of the world that are still on your offense. You just got to get them the football.
Brooks,
yeah, somehow got to get them the football. Yeah, Jordan Brooks was great last week, I thought. And with Oklahoma losing to Kansas, that doesn't help Texas any if they get to a Big 12 championship, right? So because Oklahoma has a bad loss against Kansas. Still helps them if they beat Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's still ranked in the top 10, which they are in the college football committee's rankings from last night. But Texas needs to win this game. Got to hold serve at home. I like Texas. I think they cover the 4 points. And that's why I still have them at the top of the Big 12 power rankings with Kansas State just below that, because I think Texas wins, but it's a late touchdown. They're down 3. They score late. They score 7 late, and they win by 4. They cover the 4.
I'll take Kansas State. Nobody's been hotter.
I agree. I want to take Kansas State, but I think Texas is just there, and they have it this year.
I lean to agree with you. That's an emotional hedge for you. I like it, but I'll take Kansas State just to be different. Bedlam, I'm taking Oklahoma State. Ollie Gordon has 1,000 yards rushing in like 3 games. He's going to continue his role. This is in Stillwater. Alan Bowman will take care of the ball, hopefully. Dylan Gabriel was weird last week in their loss to Kansas. They threw it 14 times before the last drive.
Yeah.
Before they kind of had to air it out. Maybe that was just Dylan Gabriel's off game. He has a couple every year. Or he's hurt. And if he's hurt, they're not going to win in Stillwater.
Yeah, if he's hurt, then dangerous time for Oklahoma. I said that Texas's college football playoff hopes are still alive. Oklahoma's are somewhat alive, I guess, if things happen to fall some ways and they beat Texas again, they're able to win out and beat Texas again or Kansas State, whoever it is, in the Big 12 championship game. And then a few teams lose. Michigan loses, Ohio State loses before the Michigan-Ohio State game, because then one of them will have 2 losses. Georgia would have to lose. Teams like that would have to lose for them to have a chance here. But it's a big one for Oklahoma. Bedlam's always huge. I'll take Oklahoma State as well in Bedlam, especially to cover the 6 points that they're getting from Oklahoma. Man, I really like Ollie Gordon. I'm really glad that Alan Bowman has Ollie Gordon, because Alan Bowman's not that good. Ollie Gordon can make you look good as a quarterback, because all you got to do is get it to Ollie Gordon and he can go find a way.
Yeah. So you're taking Oklahoma State too?
Yeah, give me Oklahoma State. Yeah.
I mean, it's +6.
Yeah, so I agree. And I don't know that Oklahoma State will win, but I think they will cover.
Yeah. Houston, Baylor, the battle for the bottom. This is Baylor -4 at home. Baylor sucks in Waco.
They're so bad at home. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you play in a toilet bowl, you'd be bad too. Give me Schmitty Johns. Yeah. In the boys.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. I'll take Houston on the road. They're both bad. I think Houston's worse, but I don't trust Baylor.
If Dana loses at Baylor, does he make the flight home? Or does Fertitta say, "See you, bud. You can stay in Waco and be their offensive coordinator next year"?
They're buddies. I just don't think he gets fired this year, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Especially with Jimbo about to get canned.
I think he gets a Big 12 grace period. Yeah.
I think if Jimbo wasn't going to get fired, right? I think Houston would fire Dana and hire Jeff Traylor. But because A&M is going to fire Jimbo Fisher, it's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah.
At this point, the fan base is already wants his head in College Station. I think Jeff Traylor's the new head football coach in College Station after the season.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
UCF Cincinnati. I say hopefully because I don't want him in Houston.
I don't either.
All right. UCF Cincinnati, another bottom of the Big 12. Both teams will have their first opportunity at a Big 12 win this week. Both 0-5 in the conference. UCF -4 on the road.
Yeah, UCF should be 4-4 right now if they wouldn't have just dramatically collapsed.
Oh my God.
Against Baylor. I mean, I still hurt for UCF fans, even though they're a bunch of garbage on Twitter.
Yeah.
But John Rice Plumlee's back. He didn't play terribly last week, I didn't think. He has some good moments. He's just not a great quarterback. Neither is Emory Jones. This is, what'd you say the line was? I forgot to look. Or let me look.
4
for UCF.
Yeah.
UCF is better. Give me UCF. I don't know.
I'll take Cincinnati. I like Emory Jones. He has 13-9 touchdown to interception ratio, but I like Emory Jones. I think he's a baller. I'm going to go Emory Jones here over John Rice Plumlee.
Okay. I just like the baseball guy. So taking the baseball guy.
All right. Kansas, Iowa State. This is a spot for Iowa State. -2.5. Kansas coming off a huge win. They're ranked for the first time in the playoff era, in the playoff poll, not in the top 25. Thoughts?
What a time we live in, that you can be ranked in the playoff poll and not ranked in the AP poll.
Did you kind of funny. Well, I think they're ranked in the AP poll too, but
are they? Okay.
I just first time they're ranked.
Yeah, in the college football playoff poll. Yeah. Give me Iowa State, man.
I agree.
It just feels like, I mean, it's 6 p.m. It's a night game in Ames. Silly things happen in November in Ames. Kansas is riding high off of a big win. I think they lose in Ames.
I agree. Did you see the stat yesterday? Sorry, going back to the playoff rankings. Kansas first ranking Tuesday. Only 5 Power 5 teams have never been ranked in the CFP top 25 rankings. Did you see this?
No.
Can you name them?
2 top 25 teams have not been ranked in the
five Power 5 teams have not been ranked in the CFP top 25, which is different than the AP top 25.
Oh, only 5. Texas Tech definitely hasn't been.
Texas Tech is one.
Texas Tech. Let's go with are these Power 5 teams this year?
Current Power 5 teams.
Okay. BYU. Nope. BYU would have been ranked in there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I
mean, this is real.
Colorado.
Nope.
Because they've been ranked. Yeah, that's right.
So we're going SEC.
Oh, at Vanderbilt, obviously.
Vanderbilt. 2 Big
That's
Ten.
an easy one. 2 Big Tens, Rutgers and Maryland.
And then Pac-12.
Arizona or Arizona State.
Cal.
Oh, yeah, but I forget Cal Berkeley even has a football team.
Yeah.
Even though they almost beat USC. They should have beat USC last week.
You're lumped into a group of Cal, Maryland, Rutgers, and Vanderbilt.
Good Lord have mercy.
That's how bad you've been for a decade. Decade. Then you have your best season in a decade last year, and you fall off a cliff this year.
Well, and everybody expected you to be ranked in the college football playoff rankings this year.
Expectations.
Everybody expected you to.
Oh, man, that made me so mad when I saw it yesterday. Anyways.
That's a heck of a list to be on right there, man. That is rough.
Brutal.
That's rough. It made my heart sink that you're on the list with Cal.
Yes.
Cal shouldn't even have a football program. Cal may shut it all down anyways.
Yeah, I think they might.
They don't care.
Hey, 3 Big Ten teams, though, on that list with Cal.
How about that?
Oh, no, they didn't go to the Big Ten. They got left out. Oh, no, they're in the ACC. Cal and Stanford went to the ACC. That's right.
Oof.
What do you think about that SMU-Stanford matchup in the ACC next year?
Cool. I won't be watching.
I won't either. BYU, West Virginia, BYU, same record out of conference. BYU 2-3 in the Big 12, West Virginia 3-2 in the Big 12. They've both beaten you. West Virginia -10 at MPS. Milan Puskar Stadium.
Yeah, I don't know how you say that. BYU, the only game they've won on the road this year has been Arkansas. So, West Virginia at home. Give me the Mounties at home, and they burn couches in Morgantown.
A win by 10?
Yeah. BYU's not good on the road. Arkansas is not good either.
Their offense is so bad. I think West Virginia can shut them out. Not shut them out, but shut them down.
Shut them down. Yeah, I don't know. Shut them out's a bold prediction there,
right? No, I don't think they'll shut them
out. Yeah, I agree. I think that West Virginia wins. West Virginia is going to get bowl eligible on a year that nobody thought they would be bowl eligible in. Yeah. Garrett Green's better than we thought he was going to be. He doesn't have a great numbers, obviously, but he's better than Caden Slovis. Another game that Texas Tech should have won was at BYU. Yes. If you have Baron Morton or Tyler Shuck, you win that football game. If you have Baron Morton or Tyler Shuck, you probably beat Kansas State.
Yes.
So there's
that would be it.
It's like my grandmother always says: if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. That's what Texas Tech's whole season is this year: ifs and buts.
Yeah.
Ifs and buts and lack of execution.
Yeah, it's a lot of it, and I think you'll continue that way. Hey, you need to win 3 to be in a bowl.
Not gonna happen.
You have to play 2 home games, which I think you can win both. I don't think you'll win this Thursday, but you can. You can beat TCU. Kansas, can you stop them? I don't know.
Yeah, you're not gonna
Your
win.
defense is pretty good, but can you outscore them? I don't know. And then Texas, I don't think.
Tell you what, Jason Bean looked really good last week, and then he almost tried to give it away last week too against Oklahoma. So
how does Jeff Levy not get a first down? You need
no
one
idea.
2 first downs to win that game. You can't do it. That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
understand.
Man.
It's because they didn't let Art Briles come to the game and give him the plays anymore. That's why.
Oklahoma's a bunch of cheap offense.
They are.
In the crunch time, they've not been good this year.
Except for the last-minute drive against Texas. Benefited by a big pass interference call.
Yes.
Which Texas fans will say wasn't pass interference, but it was pass interference.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, one good drive this year that has put Oklahoma on the pedestal, and then they got knocked off that pedestal last week against the Jayhawks. And I kind of like that Kansas beat Oklahoma last week, to be honest. Yeah. It's hard for me to do it, but Kansas is they're doing it the right way at Kansas. Really like Lance Leipold. I thought he was a good candidate when Texas Tech was hiring after Cliff Kingsbury. I thought, and after that whole fiasco that happened before Matt Wells, I thought that Lance Leipold was a good candidate. He was one of the up and comers in the sport. He needed to go to Buffalo and refine how he was as a head football coach and show that he could win at the Division I level for sure. But he was one of those sneaky guys that I thought could be a really good Power 5 football coach just because he's steady, man. Yeah. He's just this guy right here. He doesn't move. Yeah. He never wavers. Yeah. He doesn't go up and down. He's a steady dude, and I think that's why Kansas is going to be good for the years to come with Lance Leipold as the head ball coach at Kansas, which makes it tougher for a lot of other teams in the Big 12. For sure.
I think Michigan State will be good next year with Lance
Leipold. I see what you did there. I like that. Yeah, it's either going to be Lance Leipold or our favorite head coach from Iowa State. Yeah.
JD says 2024 TCU quarterback Malik Murphy. Yeah, I mean TCU has a lot of in conference transfers.
I would love it if Malik Murphy never saw a purple uniform.
Me too. Taj over
dangerous
of the Brooks brothers. Texas, Kansas State, and Iowa State.
It's hard to say that Taj Brooks is better than Jordan. He was a first-round draft pick in the NFL. So until Taj is Jordan, the Texas running back. Yeah.
Isn't that his name? Jordan Brooks?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The Brooks brothers from Newton. Is that where they're from?
Well, I don't think they're actually brothers.
Well, no, he has a brother that he played with in high school, I believe, that is also at Texas. Jonathan Brooks. Yeah.
You said Jordan earlier.
There you go.
I was thinking that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, Jonathan.
But yeah, that's two good running backs, two of the best top running backs in the Big 12 for sure.
Yeah. I think you'd probably still give it to Jonathan, but
yeah, just because he plays on the best team in the Big 12.
Yeah. One of the best. All right. Anything else?
We'll figure out if they're the best team in the Big 12 this week. Let's put it that way.
Yes, you will.
Malik Murphy's going to have to play really good.
I think those are the top two. By the way, I don't want to say that. Anything else? I don't want to say that. I'll get in trouble.
Okay. I kind of want you to say it now, but yeah.
Well, I was going to talk about Quinn Ewers, but I don't think I will. Because I thought better of it.
Okay.
I'll tell you off air.
I will be watching Army Air Force this week. Like, I love the Service Academy matchups. You know me. I love the triple option. I love that Air Force is undefeated. Go Eagles.
Go Eagles.
They're the Falcons. I mean, they're the Falcons. But yeah, Air Force looking good, and then Army obviously has a West Texas tie in their quarterback with now I'm skipping. My mind is drawn a blank now.
You got it.
Bryson Daly. Thank you.
There you go.
Missouri, Georgia, big one for Georgia. Everybody's like, Georgia hadn't played anybody. That's why they're number 2 in the country compared to Ohio State, who's beat Notre Dame, who's beat a couple others this season. Ohio State's going to dismantle. I mean, Georgia's going to dismantle Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri's ranked number 12. See ya. They're dropping out of the top 20.
Yeah, minus 15.5.
Yeah. Florida State stays undefeated. Washington at USC, and then LSU, Alabama. Those two games are huge in college football playoff implications, both for Washington and for Alabama. LSU needs a win.
Yes.
Brian Kelly needs a win at Alabama. I think it's very doable at Alabama. I don't think Bama is a top 10 team this year. I don't think they're that good. To be in the top 10, they're just Alabama. It's Nick Saban. They're in the top 10 because of that. Washington, Caleb Williams needs to win that game.
Yeah. Well, USC, they've kind of fallen off for me. I don't really care about them anymore.
They should be 6-3 right now. Cal should have beat them.
Arizona should have beat them.
Yeah, Arizona should have beat. They should be 5-4. Yeah, you're right.
Notre Dame.
How about that win last week for Arizona?
It's a big one. Notre Dame.
Notre Dame waxes Clemson. Yeah, Clemson stinks this year.
3-point line. That's on the road in South Carolina.
Clemson may not make a bowl game. They'll make a bowl game because they'll go 6-6. But yeah, they'll go 6-6.
This is the game of the week in the SEC. I know you have LSU, Alabama, but Lane Kiffin hosting Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I think they were 7-1 last year and lost out.
Yeah, lost the rest of their games. Yeah.
Can they finish an SEC season? Because if not, Lane Kiffin is fired.
I sure hope so, and I hope that A&M gets blown out because I love it when the Aggies lose, and I love it whenever they have to fire their head coach. And Jimbo will be gone this week if they get blown out. By the time we talk next week, he will be fired if they get blown out by Ole Miss.
That's a Matt Wells firing. 5-4.
Yeah, it's Texas A&M, man. They think they're supposed to be 9-1 right now.
3-3 in the SEC, and you're firing him.
Yep.
Okay.
Have you seen the Texas A&M message boards? Have you seen Aggie Twitter?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they've wanted Jimbo's head since last week.
How is USC still ranked? I guess they're 7-2.
Yeah, well, USC's ranked because they have USC on the front of their jersey, and they have the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
All right, you want a big upset?
Yeah, give it to me.
Arizona State over Utah.
It could happen. Which quarterback's playing for Arizona State? They played about 16 of them.
I'm looking at this kid's stat line. That can't be right. Bourget.
Yeah, Bourget.
He's got 1,200 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions.
Yeah, he hasn't started but for like 2 games, I think. 3 games.
1,200 yards?
Bourget is what his last name is, yeah. And he's a freshman, I think. Yeah. My favorite upset is 1-7 UConn over Tennessee.
No.
The fighting Jim, everybody was so high on Jim Mora last year. Remember when he got UConn to a bowl game and all this stuff? I'm like,
yeah.
Let's be honest. He was playing a bunch of FCS schools that were new into the FBS, that were all independents, like the James Madisons of the world and all those guys. And they weren't ready for, they played New Mexico State like twice last year. Yeah, UConn, terrible. They won't beat Tennessee, by the way. I think it would be hilarious if they did.
No. All right. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm done. Those are my highlights of the week.
All right, we will see you Friday.
Big one in the NFL, by the way.
Cowboys, Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Birds.
What is the line on that? Sorry,
I don't know.
You pulled me back in.
I know. I forgot to talk about it. Talk trash to you about it.
We don't do a lot of NFL on this.
No, we don't. We never really have. We did on the Winter Factory on the real show.
When we had a real show, but -3. Wow.
Ooh, I figured they'd be favored by a little bit more. Maybe it's because Cowboys fans are just throwing a bunch of money on the Cowboys. But
I'd be interested to see where that opened.
Yeah.
Game of the week, America's Game of the Week on Fox.
Yep.
All right.
That'd be a fun one.
All right, that's all I got.
Yep, I'm out.
Go Cowboys.